The Great Depression in Sarnia-Lambton. The Great Depression was a defining event in the lives of nearly all people who lived through it. Those who came of age in the 1930s remember it as a time of shortages, hunger, and fear. The Great Depression highlighted a key change in the move from rural agrarian society to urban industrial society. Whereas during previous disasters, families and communities had come together to support one another, people living in the cities didn't share the same sense of community. They could no longer look to family, friends, and neighbors for this support. The Great Depression began with the stock market crash in 1929 that sent the banking system into disarray. The economy collapsed and millions of people lost their jobs. At the height of the Great Depression, nearly half of all banks in America failed. Construction halted, and the number of unemployed Americans surged to 15 million. The situation was equally dire on the farms. The First World War had created a boom for farmers, as the army needed food to feed their soldiers overseas. The government guaranteed the price they paid farmers in order to ensure the supply. To meet the demand, many farmers borrowed money to buy extra land and expand their cattle herds. When the war ended and the price guarantee was removed, many farmers struggled to meet their financial obligations. Then in 1933 and 1934, a severe drought struck the American Midwest. Farm families that lost their land flocked to the cities to compete for the few available jobs. The need for social assistance was just as acute in Sarnia as elsewhere, if not more so. By 1933, more than 2,200 of Sarnia's 18,000 residents were on relief. Many survived by accessing the soup kitchen and the bread line. Young men traveled across the country on freight trains in search of jobs. In Sarnia, the city seized more than 120 properties because the owners had failed to pay their taxes. The city organized several work projects to provide employment to those without jobs, such as shoveling snow and cutting ice in the winter. In the summer, the city offered jobs to men willing to help with road repair and construction, installing sewers, and dredging the bay to make way for the large ships. In the course of the dredging, they came upon several old shipwrecks. As journalist Dan McCaffrey makes clear, and I quote, "The men who occupied the mayor's chair during that bleak decade tried hard to deal with the crisis." End quote. Their attempts included lowering taxes and encouraging businesses to open up shop in the city. The largest project undertaken during this period was the construction of the Blue Water Bridge, which was completed in 1938, just as the Depression was ending. The Premier of Ontario, M.F. Hepburn, commented, and I quote, "The Blue Water Bridge is a magnificent structure of stone and concrete to be used for years to come in friendly pilgrimages." End quote. With the outbreak of the Second World War in 1939, the Canadian economy was already on the rebound.